Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome to C.A.T.S Network.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Well.
Good. So, we're going to jump right in here. You are a CEO of the Clamon Group. Tell us.
It's just Clamon.
Clamon. Thank you so much. Clamon.
No problem.
And so tell us about
my husband. It was a package deal.
So tell us about the Clamon Group.
We actually have several things that we do. I'm a speaker and an international best-selling author. And my husband and I are marriage coaches, and we also speak and do workshops and seminars.
That's fantastic. It's great to have a good teamwork like that.
Yes. He retired December a year ago, and that's we went into doing the coaching, and we also speak and do workshops together as well.
So I see in your rap sheet that you are driven to help other women leave the legacy of their story. Because they asked me unanswered questions. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I do not want to see another woman leave this planet without telling her story and leaving her legacy for those who come along after her. I wish that I knew the stories of the women who came before me, like my grandmother. I knew my grandmother, and I know a lot about her, but things like how she and my grandfather met, how they fell in love, and what kind of what kind of wedding did they have, and I don't know any of those things. And I have no way of finding out now. And I want to see women tell that story, either write it in a book and publish it, or write it and keep it in their computer, or dictate it in their phone, or, tell it verbally to their grandchildren and pass it on that way, but don't leave without leaving that legacy behind.
Wow, I am so in the same boat with you, and we offer services just to do that, to help women get their stories out, and it's very therapeutic, I'm sure, as you have found.
Oh yes, it saved me. Writing my story of my childhood, I wrote a book called Beauty Rising from Brokenness. My journey through childhood trauma to chronic illness and into healing. And it really helped me to get it out of my head and onto paper. It lost its power over me, all of that trauma. And I was able to heal by getting all of those feelings out on paper.
Yeah, so I bet you're a proponent of journaling for everybody, huh?
Absolutely, yes. And I have people that are like, oh, I hate to journal. And I was like that too. I am not naturally a writer. I am naturally a mathematician. But I learned that writing is so helpful. It's so cathartic. So even if you just write a couple of sentences in a journal every day, or do bullet journals, just so that you get all of that out of you. Because as long as you're carrying it around, it's not doing anything but weighing you down and hurting you. And you need to get it out so it's off of you.
Yeah. And so that leads me into the next question of, give us a piece of advice for other women, for other coaches, authors, thought leaders, speakers, that based on your experience, that would be a tidbit or advice for them.
My experience in all of those areas as a speaker, a writer, a coach is to tell stories. Stories are a superpower. And if you don't tell stories, I've seen so many speakers get on stages. I do collaboration books. I put them together. And I've had so many authors send me what was supposed to be a story, but it's just a series of events. There's no emotion. It doesn't move you. And when you speak like that or you write like that, your audience doesn't attach to you. They don't know who you are. You have to peel the curtain back and give them some insight into who you are and what you've been through. And you've got to move them with emotion and with creative feeling words. They know you, they know your story, and they're much more likely to invite you back to speak or to buy your book or your services or your products. Storytelling is absolutely a superpower. And, speakers are a dime a dozen, but storytellers are few and far between. And it doesn't take much to learn how to be a great storyteller. You don't have to be born with it. It can be taught, and it's not a hard thing to learn.
You're very inspiring because I totally believe everything you're saying. And so I have a question. For most speakers, like you say, we would rather hear storytellers, the getting down, the peeling back, to opening up, to actually admitting these emotional pains and words that are moving, but they're also revealing. And so I guess the question for me for you is how do you help? How do you tell people it's okay and that it's not so much about airing your dirty laundry? I'm from the South, and you keep everything inside, which is not healthy. I get that. But what would you
from the
say?
South too?
What would you say though? So if you're from the South, you keep up appearances, as it said down here.
Oh, yes, and you don't wear white before Labor Day.
That's right.
Labor Day.
That's right, after Labor Day and not before Easter.
But, the famous poet George Bernard Shaw said, the skeletons out of the closet, you might as well make them dance. So that's what I did.
Yeah, and it's cathartic, and it makes you feel good, the person who's expressing. I'm just saying that there is a toes on the ledge moment of, okay, I'm going to be engaging, which is what you're saying. We want to hear about what happened, the thing that moved you, not just the report of what happened. It's that's very emotional. It's tough. And so what?
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. So what is a bit of advice? What's the tip? How do you get somebody from the other side now? You're looking back. You've gone through it. You went through the electric fence. You had toes on the edge. You took a leap. You did it. Now looking back, what do you tell those people that are on the verge of telling their story?
When I work with people, we work with writing the story. And we don't worry about punctuation, grammar, any of that stuff. We just let that story flow. And if they're having a hard time with it, or even if they're not, and they're wanting the stories to tell from stage or a book, I have them do a timeline and just write a few sentences or a paragraph down that timeline. And then we figure out what's the good stuff, what's the nuggets, what's the good parts that we're going to get out of that and teach. And then we expound on that. And it's like walking through a minefield sometimes. Especially like my life was definitely walking through a minefield. And I tell them, because you get to those I tell them you just have to, the only way to get out of feeling that way and feeling like you're going to be stuck back under by that memory is to go through it, right through it, push through it, get through it. And to have somebody there that can help you, that can hold your hand, that can talk with you as you go through it, especially somebody who's been through it, helps immensely to get you through it. But the only way out is through. You stay trapped in that emotion unless you go back through it and deal with it and get the hurt out, grieve it, and then leave it. And then you tell the story and it's separated from that emotion. Then we can work on telling that story in a way that is moving and that is entertaining, and you don't stand on stage in tears, although sometimes the tears still do pop up. And if they do, I let them, because that's cleansing, that's healing. But I don't stand there just squalling the whole time I'm trying to tell the story, because I've done the work and I've gone through it, and I've grieved it, and I've left it. and I can tell the story, and my audience can be moved then. And then when they're moved, then they remember me. They meet me at the table, at my book table, or they meet me in the they beat me to the bathroom after I'm talking because they want to tell me how that, how they can relate and how it made them feel. And that's the whole point. The only reason we go through stuff in this life is so that we can help somebody else who's going through it. We can give them a hand up. I can tell somebody what it feels like to be hit to run into a semi truck going 60 miles an hour and be trapped in a Suburban and then be left at the age of 38 disabled and bedridden for 12 years. Not very many people can tell somebody that. They can tell that story, and I can be removed from the emotion of it, and then I can have people who are coming to me like, I had terminal cancer for 5 years, and I was in the bed and tears rolling down their face, and I understand what you said, and it spoke to me, now I know I can keep fighting, and I can get up, and I can keep moving towards my purpose and my goal because you did it, and I can do it too. Because that's what I went through it for. I went through it so I can help somebody else go through it. Does that answer your question at all?
Yeah. So you're incredibly inspiring. So now I'm curious, who inspires you?
So many people. My grandmother inspired me. She was just the most amazing woman ever. And she and my grandfather were my parents until I was about 5.5. And my grandfather had a massive heart attack and passed away. And that's when I got the shocking revelation that my oldest sister was really my mother. And my grandparents were my grandparents. And that was the beginning of the trauma. And it went on from there. But she was in her 50s and still had 2 kids at home, and she worked, and she had an 8th grade education, and she kept the family farm going, and she's just an amazing woman. Everything about her inspires me. My husband inspires me. He started out as an auto mechanic when we met, and he just retired a year ago after 34 years in the Air Force. 9 as an enlisted up to staff sergeant, and got commissioned and started over and retired as a lieutenant colonel. So he's very inspiring to me. My children are inspiring to me. They are just the most amazing. You don't hear people with millennials say, "Oh, they're great." I don't have a basement, so they can't live here. I live in an RV and travel. But they wouldn't want to anyway. They have their own homes, and they have my most amazing grandchildren, and they all have. My son has his own business, and he's only 28, and he has a thriving business that he's a one-man show. And they all are doing what they love, and they're all self-sufficient and independent, and they inspire me. I meet people every day that inspire me. People who are relentless like I am. I tell people, they ask me why I got up after that wreck, and I said, because TUIT is not in my DNA. It's not there. I had it checked. It's not there.
That's fantastic. So what's next for you? What's the big vision for yourself and your business?
Oh, my big visions. Oh, my gosh. I want big stages. I want to speak to millions. I want big stages. I just need the right person to hear me, see me, and tell me how to get there. Because I'm just still going, looking, running around, trying to get noticed. Hey, I'm over here, and I'm not like the rest of them. And so I just want to speak on the big stages. I want to inspire women to be empowered to go for their dreams. I want to form a foundation for girls who grew up without their fathers and felt rejected and shamed and unloved. And I want to have a summer camp for them to come and learn to tell their story through writing or just speaking or writing songs or interpretive dance or whatever. And I want to do that. I want to have a foundation to do that so their mothers don't have to pay a dime because their mothers have had enough to do. We're raising them without a father because that's how I was raised. I want to do events for military spouses, and I want to educate the public the same way that they educated the public to thank our military servicemen and men and not ever let Vietnam happen again. I could be standing beside my husband. People will walk up to him and thank him for his service and walk away and not give me even a hi, how are you, kiss my behind. And I just think, what do you think I was doing for that 34 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it comes down to education. It's just about educating them. They don't know. They don't know the sacrifices that spouses and families give. We give you the most valuable thing we have. That's our husband and our daddy. And we just, all we want is to thank you. We just want to thank you too. And so, sometimes I feel like writing in Sharpie on my forehead. I didn't wear a uniform, but I served.
Yes. Yeah.
That's my two great passions. That's like my two things that I want to see changed before I leave this planet. I have another book coming out. It's the next part of the story after Beauty Rising from Brokenness. It's about the car accident and that 12 years of battle and struggle to come back. And my husband and I wrote it together, so it'll be coming out later this year. And in the near-term future, I'm getting ready to go to LA Book Festival and do book signings for Beauty Rising from Brokenness. I just signed on with a publisher to represent it there. And so I'm excited about that. And I'm speaking in D.C. March 8th and 9th at the Her Story conference. So yeah, lots of things going on. Exciting.
You sure do. So quickly, before we have to go, do you have a website, some way we can find you?
Yes, you can go to ElizabethClamon.com, and that will take you to my About page, and that has all my speaking information on it. Or you can go to the Clamon group, and that has all of our marriage coaching, my husband and my everything on the web page, and it also has my About page, which is my speaking page. And it also has our books, our author page as well.
You got a lot going on. Well, thank you so much.
I just finished a collaboration book that we just did 2 weeks ago with She Rises Studios, and it's called Becoming an Unstoppable Woman Influencer.
Wow.
And that's real exciting. It's not on my website yet, but you can look it up on Amazon. It's a cool book.
Perfect.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join C.A.T.S Network. C.A.T.S Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, C.A.T.S is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's C-A-T-S networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.